but actually not one of my newest friends, because I've known you for a long time. So Janet is a terrific light worker, and I welcome you, Janet, to come up here and share about who you are and what you do and the way that you do it. So please welcome one of our newest agents.
First, I want to give a shout out to Debbie Hedzik, because this is one of her outfits, and I want, not her outfits, like I didn't take it off her, I bought it from her, so kudos to her. Welcome everybody, and thank you for having me. I know many, many faces here, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here and to speak. And it's funny because I was sitting in the courthouse yesterday, not that I was in court, I was actually paying a tax bill just as bad. You know, with like a 2-hour wait. And Michelle texted me yesterday at the last minute and said, there's an opening for a speaker, you know, do you want to take it? And I just like quickly wrote back, yeah, sure, okay. And then I wasn't thinking, because I was trying to do Reiki, and it worked. I was trying to do Reiki on moving up my hour-and-a-half wait, because I had enough of it, and I no sooner finished the last Reiki symbol than they called my number. I was like, stop, this stuff is great. But anyway, and when I got home, I was like, I didn't even ask her what I need to speak about or what to think, you know, what it has to be. But my whole point is that I speak spirit anyway. I'm like, so now all of a sudden I was like, what do I have to talk about? So a little bit of background on me. Kind of like Sherry, I'm a licensed massage therapist. I kind of fell into that after, same thing, some kind of crises and tragedies and things happened in my life. I was in a completely different field. I was a marketing director for software companies and then in human resources. And I went through 3 layoffs in 4 years. I lost several people in my family. I had just bought a condo down in Deerfield Beach, moved the last box, made 1 mortgage payment, and found myself out of work again. And I had a spa party planned. I wasn't a therapist at that time. I had a spa party planned as a housewarming. And I said, I'm still going to do it. Let me go forward and have this spa party. And I remember I completely made my house look like a spa, and everybody that came in got the wow factor. And I started a business after that called Sparty's Mobile Day Spa, which we travel from Miami to Melbourne, and I also have the business in New York and New Jersey, and we come in and not just bring the therapist, but we transform the entire location to make it look, feel, smell, sound like a day spa. Bring robes and slippers and lighting and music, aromatherapy, everything so you feel like you're at a spa. I also, like everything else, good help was hard to find, so I was just running the business side of it, but about 4 years in, I decided to go back to school and become a therapist myself, because I really feel if you want to work on something, you kind of have to be able to roll your sleeves up and do it yourself. So I went back and I became a therapist myself as well, which opened up the whole world to me, because now I was able to take on my own private clients. I knew I would show up for work, like some other people, and it was great. And I did that for many years, and I would say about 5 or so years ago, when I was, and looking back, I kind of had this my whole life, but when I was working on people, if they had a hip injury, I would work on them for 2 hours, I'd come home and go to get out of the car, and guess who had the hip injury? They had a shoulder injury. They had, you know, guess who had the shoulder injury after I was done with them? Couldn't watch the news, couldn't watch scary movies, couldn't watch sad things. It's like, oh, so then I started reading about empaths. Realized I was an empath. When somebody told me about Reiki, I had known about it, but really told me about it, I went back and studied to become a Reiki, and I became a Reiki master, which I now teach. Through my Reiki practice, as many of you know who are Reikis, again, this group is preaching to the choir, messages started coming to me, which again, looking back through my whole life, I was the kid that they said had the imaginary friend. It's like, no, they weren't imaginary. I'm Italian and Greek, and people ask me if I speak Italian and Greek. I understand it, but I really speak spirit. I am a medium. And I had somebody ask me just yesterday, do you stand around and talk to dead people all day? I'm like, no. I'm like, no, there's not all these people floating around over here. It's energy. Energy is energy. My greatest and most challenging, and I think that there's a reason for this, God doesn't, fool around with you, My greatest and most challenging client, patient, whoever you want to call it, is my one and only older developmentally disabled sister. I am her only caregiver. I do have her in a group home and a day workshop. She is verbal, but she's not verbal in the sense that we are, that she can say, this is hurting my heart, this is hurting my ears, this is hurting my stomach, this is this, you know. So we went through traditional medicinal route that the group homes and the workshops require, and the state of Florida requires, and we went to every doctor under the sun for whatever her behavioral issues were or her medical issues were, and we all came up with nothing. When they were all done, I was like, can I have her now? Can I have my sister back now? They were on my table, did Reiki on her, did some spiritual work on her, and long story short, we got to the bottom of it that she had an audiology problem, similar to what Bradley Cooper had in A Star is Born, where she had oversensitive hearing and needs earplugs to diminish the sound. But we did this all through Reiki and spiritual mediumship work. I don't stand around and talk to dead people all day. I can, but I don't. I work with a lot of, that led me to my crusade to work with stroke patients, special needs children, Alzheimer's, dementia, your husbands, your wives, if you don't know what's going on in your head, I do. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, I have an email list, all the stuff, and I'm going to put cards in the back, and I have some events coming up, so thank you.